Good morning, everyone. This is Kathy Mason from Mason Works Marketing, here today on Conscious Business Zone with my friend Rosie Battista. Hi,
Hi
Rosie.
there. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to introduce you to Rosie because we met because we're in a mastermind together, and we right away knew there was some connection out of everyone that was in there. And Rosie is the queen of cards, which we'll go into that. But first, I want to ask Rosie because she did something on her 50th birthday, which we're not going to tell you how old she is. So, but on her 50th birthday, she competed in her first bodybuilding figure competition with her daughter.
Yeah.
So, okay, we got to start with that. Okay,
Yeah. Well, yeah.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the whole story. How did that happen? What happened?
Well, it's really interesting. It started because I was in a major funk, which I call my dark night of the soul. Well,
Uh-huh.
one of them anyway, but it was a big one. So it was like after my second divorce, I was losing my house. My business was, well, just, I really didn't have one. I had no, so it was just a mess. It was a mess. I was 40 pounds overweight, and I had, struggled my whole life with an eating disorder, which kind of kicked in full steam after that. So I literally, when I tell the story, I was on my hands and knees, like on my basement floor. And I was just like, okay, I was just my great surrender. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, tell me what to do over here. So it was like a rope got dropped in, and I got this message, enter a bodybuilding competition. So I'm like, all right. Now, mind you, my father always, like when I was a kid, I kind of tracked back to see like where, but it was something that always intrigued me because I would hang out with my dad. He had a makeshift gym in his basement, and he would always be there, and I would be there with him listening to his 50s music. So it's something about it that intrigued me. So anyway, I was like, yeah, okay. Then I started to think about it, and I started to talk myself out of it. Like, what are you, crazy? And other people gave me their opinion too, like right away. You're too old. You're never going to be able to do it. It's just, why would you want to do it anyway? And all that stuff.
I can.
Right. So I was like, you know what? I kept going back and forth until one day I said to my son, and he says, Mom, either do it or don't do it. Just stop talking about it. Like, make up do it if you're going to do it, or don't do it. Right. So it was like the little smack in the face from the kid. So I'm like, okay, fine. I'm doing it. So it was I'm going to explain a little bit about a bodybuilding competition for people that don't know, but you have to be, so it's a figure competition. So you have to be really lean. So I had to lose weight, but not lose and add muscle. So in a short amount of time. So you're very, very strict on your eating, and you're pretty much in the gym, like at least twice a day for a few hours. So do enough cardio, but not too much cardio. So there's lots of balancing stuff going on. But so it took me about 16 weeks. That's all I had. I literally went and signed up for the thing. And
oh my God, 4 months?
Yeah. I signed up, and I'm like, okay, well, that's it now. I signed up, so I have to show up on that stage. And then my daughter at the time was, she was an athlete, and she says, Mom, I'll do it with you. So I'm like, okay. So I learned a lot. And actually that's where, so long story short, on stage, you wear this little tiny bling bikini, like very bling. So people can go to, on YouTube, I have photos of
You
me.
do?
Yes, you can go to my YouTube, and I talk a lot about it because there were 3 things that I really learned about life through this. And that's what became the basis of my business, actually. But when I was on that stage, like, standing there in front of all these people looking at me, judging my body, like I had to turn around, and they're like judging me. I was standing there, the lights on me, and I got this, another message was like, everything you need was already inside you. and always is inside you. And
Oh.
yeah, and I said, you know what, I need to make sure everyone knows this. So yeah, so I started to, you know, life coach around that, like you have all you need inside of you. And you know,
Well, how did your daughter do? I know you did great.
well, so my daughter actually got a trophy.
Oh,
I did not. That's okay. So here's how it was. My daughter was the youngest in the competition. I was the oldest, because when they put everyone in for women, it's one category when it's your first competition. So we actually were on stage standing together. So, you know, I mean, I looked great, but I didn't look like a 20 or 30 or 40-year-old, but I look like, you know.
Well, yeah, but
I look,
but you probably looked incredible. I mean, probably.
oh my God. Yeah. And it was, you know, that really wasn't what mattered for me, that I stuck to something. I did it with all of the things that like were against me in my head. And through the whole thing, I would have people telling me, you look good enough. Why are you going to do this? And why are you so physically focused and things like that? So I struggled then in my own head about that, because, but there's something about when you're stuck somewhere, you need to start somewhere. And physical is the thing that you have the most control of.
Right.
And you start there, and then the whole thing starts to kind of,
the way you do one thing is the way you do everything, right? So it's your worldview.
Yeah. So that was like my real spiritual awakening moment, believe it or not. But it was just, it really was like the light, like just came, boom, like that. And it was amazing. But, and that special time with my daughter was really kind of a really unique moment that not that many people get to do.
Right.
So I really appreciate that. But being like, so for me, the next oldest person was about 42. So it was a big jump. I mean, most people stop there and they don't really go on into the 50s. And there's not another category until you're, I think, over 55 or 60 or whatever. But so now I say I can go back in again. I'll probably win a trophy because I'll be there by myself.
Well, I knew someone here who had been in the Olympics as a younger man, and he trained and went back in at 40 and went back in. He was a high jumper, and you know, it's more about that fortitude, that strength and conviction that you have. That
I would say it's your belief. I mean, I totally believe it's your belief system, which is really everything. That we can do anything we believe we can do. Right. You know, so that's kind of like the most amazing thing, and that's really what it taught me, to like where all my limiting beliefs about thinking that like I shouldn't do that because I'm like too old, or someone else thinks I'm too old. But no, I don't buy into that crap at all.
Right. So, well, that's so wonderful, and I think that what we're seeing a lot now. And we've seen it, I would say it's been the past couple of years, is a lot of people are frozen in their decision-making processes. They just, like when you were saying, should I, shouldn't I, you know, all of that. And what you're really modeling for everyone is how wonderful it is when you just take a stand.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And and putting that into different parts of my life. So, you know, and so you think, oh, you get that whole belief system thing, but it always shows up in the sneaky places. So, you know, and then it began to show up like in my business too, and what I was doing, like in the fact that I've always been like a super creative. So creating things and making things from the time I could make things. And we were talking before about, you know, I was in the fashion industry, you know, making children's clothing and making adult clothing. And I never would call myself an artist, though, because there was a point I remember someone telling me that that my drawings weren't so good, or I didn't. And there was a contest that I entered when I was like in 3rd grade, and I didn't win it. So I set in myself, like, I believed like I just wasn't so good. So I would always draw and always do things, but never call myself an artist.
I understand.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of people like that have that kind of thing.
Or it isn't valued. I mean, it's sort of like, what are you going to be when you grow up? And if you say artist, they go, oh, starving artist. It's almost
exactly that too. It's like, so you're not going to make anything out of like But I have to tell you, I mean, so it's taken to now for me to say, yeah, I'm an artist, and to actually be using my creativity to help other people with theirs. And like, I mean, it couldn't be happier about that. You know, that
Well,
it's like,
Kelly's
yeah.
too, just to tell you, Kelly said hello, ladies.
Oh, hello, Miss
And
Kelly.
Diane Nielsen's here from Denmark.
Hi, Diane.
And so anyway, so I didn't mean to interrupt, but I wanted to let you know that Kelly was here because Kelly's been the guiding light on a lot of this. So
oh yeah,
yeah. Okay.
Guiding light.
So you decide, you get to the point of I create my reality. I'm taking control of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Anything that doesn't delight me is out of the ball game, right?
Oh, yeah. Husbands, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, that is how I live my life now. It's like, you know what, is this fun? I mean, is this bringing me joy, and is this fun? If it's not, I'm not doing it, you know. I mean, there's certain things we have to do, but then I changed my belief system about, well, let me make this fun. Right. So things that are, you know, mandatory, like I have to do parts of my business that, like, I have to track numbers and look at that, even though that's not my favorite thing. But I make it my favorite thing when I can kind of say, ooh, look how much, you know, look at this, or look how much has changed, or, you know, I've done different. So it's just changed.
Energy, right? One thing is really high energy, highly creative, and will make more. It's almost an appreciation attitude for it. So it makes more, and I call that the juice. Like if something doesn't have juice for me, it's like, okay, where is the juice? Is it here at all, or am I on the wrong path at all?
Right. And I think too, for me, when things started to feel really hard in my business, I'm like, okay, I need to do something different. And there was that part of me that wanted to do it, but then I had the other part again, like talking myself out of it.
Right.
Well, how are you going to do that? And you really don't know how to do that. And then I'm like, wait, that's not true. Of course I know how to do, like, you know, but you have to stop yourself and say, what are you, like, who's the voice that's talking to me?
Right. And if you can flip it, see, that's the thing, is like you'll hear yourself do this self-talk and go, did I just say that to myself? You know, when you're aware, and then you go, that's not true. What would it be? What would it feel like if I thought the other, right?
Exactly. But it's always that self-questioning, always that, you know.
Elsie Ritzenheim is here, and she's a creativity expert. So she'll do this conversation.
That's great. Hi, Elsie.
Yeah.
Right. So I'll have to check her out. I'd love to see what that is.
Wonderful. I got to publish her book a couple years ago. She's amazing.
That's great.
So Rosie, so we're back to you've done this incredible it's a self-challenge, and you've done it, and now you're seeing that whole transformation of your thought processes and your emotional, actually it probably restructured your whole emotional system. Then you can put it into everything, and then you start helping other people stand in their power, creating, which is what I do too, but you do something so cool. So do you want to share about that?
Yeah. So I had written a cookbook. So I called it a guidebook, Sleeping Naked After 40, a cookbook, Cooking Naked After 40, and The Naked Truth. That all came from my competition, where, you know, I'm kind of standing there naked in front of everyone, and kind of myself too, right? Looking at things in a different way. So I had those things, and then I created a card deck. And I always just really loved the card. I love card decks. I mean, you know, I have tons. I'm sure a lot of people have lots of collections of them, but I really love them. And when I made them for myself, it was my favorite thing to talk about, my favorite thing to like sell if I was doing a speaking thing or whatever. And then
more than the cookbook,
I really liked the cards, because the cards were action. They
interacted with
action step. And for my clients, and I mean, I think this was for everyone, people are overwhelmed. So to me, it was like they had one small golden nugget of information, and they could do the one thing.
Perfect.
That would make it. And it's always just that one thing that makes a difference. Otherwise, you're just like, oh, where do I start? I got to read the, you get yourself caught up in like so many things to do. But pulling a card, and so I really stand by that premise that every business could have a card deck, because it gives the client like the opportunity to just do one thing, or switch, just think about things in a different way.
Well, it's
So
also stepping forward without fear, because that, excuse me, that one thing, sorry, that one thing is you get you off that fear train, because the other is fear. You're stuck because what if, and all of the worry, which is all the worst case scenario, and none of it happens half the time anyway.
Right. And I think too, when you're in that kind of a moment where you're like, oh God, it's like you can't even think of one small thing. Like you can't even think. You're just so overwhelmed. So I feel like, the cards to me they were just really special. And they came to me, like I have 2 decks, and both of them came to me as I call my divine downloads. I like my book, I tell you, I struggled with the book, because it just, I struggled and I was resisting and pushing. When it came to the card deck, it was literally a download. I sat with paper and it just like, I didn't even know where it was coming from. It's just like, I thought I had my 50 cards both times, and so they're magical to me. So
that makes total sense. I mean, Elsie, that's what I bet Elsie could have a deck in 5 seconds.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And the thing is that I kind of, everyone can. Well, not everyone can, but you can. You just have to, once you get out of your own way. I'm sure Elsie, because she's already in that creative, spirity flow. But once you get yourself there, is one of the things I say, to like let it flow. Like it's not to make it hard. It's got to be fun, because it comes out. You have very little real estate in which to get information. So it needs to be like powerful and impactful. So my first deck, I just really loved it. So then a couple of years later, a friend of mine.
Or are you going to show
it? I show it. This. Oh, so I have to.
This way. Yeah.
Right. So this is still wrapped in shrink wrap from the. So that's it. And the deck actually went along with a 40-day video course that I had as well. So I had a whole system built around it too.
So was that a way to lose weight and get fit?
It really, so my thing was never really about losing weight. It was more about being comfortable
in your skin,
in yourself. But it's about self-love, so that if you love yourself, you automatically feed yourself better, or you don't like, you might not shove food in as much if you're like, wait a minute, I wouldn't do this to if I was eating lovingly. So it's more about that.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was never really focused on someone.
It wasn't preachy. In other words,
no, and my message never was, and I never really recommend anyone enter a bodybuilding competition because it's, it's not for everybody. It's a thing, right? So, but the idea of I had to do a lot of self-love around it, because I had to really take care of me. I had to rest. I had to not be around like certain time. I needed to take care of me. I need to go inside a lot to be able to. So that's all I'm saying, is that it's that self-love piece is what my underlying message was. So then my next deck, a friend of mine, when she was sick with cancer, she said, when I wake up in the morning, I just can't get my head on straight. Is there something you could make me that I could like hang on to? So I created this deck for her, and unfortunately she never got to actually see it physically. She sees it now, but but anyway, this one was just all the deck of 56 like affirmation cards, and then there's like mantras and prayers on the back to kind of so then with this deck, because it was so special to me, I started to just go online, and I would be pulling a card every day. And from that, this is how the magic happened. People started to say, "Oh, where'd you get those cards? Could you make me a deck?" So I started to make them for people. And then when I met Kelly's a business coach, Kelly was the instrumental person in having me see things in a different way. She saw my decks and she's like, could you teach people to do it themselves? And I'm like, well, I mean, I never thought about that. But I mean, that's cool. And so I was put to the dare by Miss Kelly, and
I get it.
I created a course, and it's been amazing because people are making the most beautiful things, and they're making things that are helping other people. So I'm helping people help people, and so that feels extra.
Right. And the thing is, it's still a tangible being. I mean, so much of our world is so digital, and I mean, and you're in front of the computer, or in front of an iPad, you're in front of this electronics all the time. I still like books, and I love my car. I mean, I don't know about you, but there's something that maybe it's just my age, but I love the tactile part of it. Right?
No, I don't think it's just your age.
Well,
I think it's a thing.
I mean, that's what libraries are for, right?
Well, you know,
Elsie just used some cards this morning.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great ritual too. Like people do use them. And that's the thing. It's a useful product, right? I mean, I love books, but sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't want to open it just to read one page. I want to sit but
Right.
For a card, okay, I could pull a card and get my morning going. I might not be able to sit and read my book though before, I get myself out of bed. So I think, I just really think they're a very powerful thing. And to your point about a physical product and digital. So I was walking in New York City, I guess about a year ago, right? But I pass it when I go to New York. And I always think the same thing. I'm like, wow, everybody went out of business because you opened an online store. This is Amazon. And now Amazon opened back up brick and mortar stores. So you go inside because people want to touch things and feel things and look at them, right? And the physical, tactile thing that we just crave. So these card decks just really give people a physical product to place in the hands of their clients.
Well, the other thing I wanted to let people know, and that's what I was doing just now, is that a lot of the decks don't have to hit. I mean, everyone worries about, too much art, or I've got to do this, or I only have that. But look at, I mean, this is a Byron Katie deck, and there's all of these cards have the same image on the back of it, and then there's stuff on the other. Yeah. So you don't have to. I mean, right. I've done one deck before for somebody, and we used it. It wasn't a masterpiece, but we got it done, and we used the same image almost. I think, or maybe we used 4 images for the whole cards.
Yeah.
And so, so people don't have to worry about that.
No, there's yeah, I mean, you're right. And there's so I'll show you this one deck from the student from my course. And I just really I love these.
So, for let the door swing inward.
Right. So she does something called a note in my pocket. And so the back of her card looks like that. And right. So she's just taking content that she was already producing and she put it in the form of a card. But the thing about her picture, she has 4 different pictures. And her son took them on the cell phone, and she used her son's photos, and they're beautiful. And so I have people that are using photos from their iPhone, people that are using images that they had in their other content, which would be this deck. She had these little images in a book that she has. Very, 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 very sweet. Her images from her book she uses.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So, and then I have people like, this is Kelly's card deck. And Kelly, is just using really she's a business coach. It's a little bit different, but she has her logo here. But this is a doodle that she did. So it's her own sketch.
Wow. She did that?
She did.
Wow.
And then there are people like, now there was I had all the decks here, and one of them happens to be missing right now, which is a woman that used her own watercolors, and she made her custom box. And I can't for the life of me find it at the moment.
Well, then you just, if you find it, take a picture and put it in the comments.
I will send you a picture, and you can you can do that. So there's people that are using their iPhone pictures, people are doing their own watercolors, and then there's there's this kind of deck where this is Lou Bertone, and he's a video coach. So he just did this in Canva, and his cards just kind of give you video prompts.
That's great.
So you could, the gamut goes whatever you want, which is super cool. Whatever you want.
Well, I wanted to say was from Kelly, and I hope it's not backwards, but what are you creating for us to be grateful for? Cards.
Yes.
Cards. Why? Well, no, seriously, think about that. This could really help people in so many ways. Get your message out. And it's a fast project compared to a book or video series.
You have to devote your time because there's all the, but it is because if you're out there with a book or a program or a course or a coaching program, you have all the content. Like, you don't need to make up stuff. You have your content. It's just getting, you're going through the steps that I teach you 3 questions. I teach you an strategy, things that, that's how you know what content is going to be powerful on your cards. Because I really am this is the way I do it. I'm very serious about your cards being impactful. So I'm like, I don't really believe you just go slap up a quote and then you're done with it. Because I want you to be proud of what you're doing, and I want it to make an impact on the person that has your cards. Everyone wins that way. So a little time in the beginning to build a strong foundation is what we want.
So, you have an online course, and then you do some one-on-one.
I do some one-on-one. So I'm going to show you a deck that I created for a client. It's a little bit more involved because it has a little book, but not a mixture. But she has this
beautiful.
It's a nice velvet bag that we researched and we found. Not me, because my done for you services is pretty much, I do everything. So you don't really worry, except all you have to do is the fun part of like curate your content. But if I need to, but I get it out of you wherever I have to get it out of you. But her cards have a little book because she needs to have explain.
Right.
Explain how to use them, because it's chakra, numerology, cosmic energy. And so now since she made her cards, she created a course around her cards.
Wow.
To teach people how to do it.
It's a backwards way that's cool.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the fun thing is that these are pictures of the moon that her sister took just randomly, which really beautiful, right?
Without screens? That isn't filtered?
I don't know how she did it, but yeah, I mean they're not up. They were real, photos.
Wow.
So then she does the readings with the other side. And so you can do it. That's the thing. If you have a book, you can do the cards to match. If you don't have anything, you can start with a lot of people start with the cards and then they do the book, or you do the cards and create a course, or you have a course and you do the cards. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter because all of it works together when you really strategize and have your content. Your content and your message is your message.
So have people done multiples? I think have people done multiple cards?
No,
I think.
Funny, because yes, and there's one girl in there now that's already, she has 2 designs and people like both of them. She goes, so I said version 1 and version 2, like that, and there's people that already have I have a whole bunch in their mind, but my goal is to get you out with 1 and then you could go on to 2. So I really do try to talk you out of focusing on one thing to do and then go back and do more. But Kelly even has more that she wants to do. She's always telling everybody, I want a deck for this, I want a deck for that. And everyone needs a deck for this, everyone needs a deck for that.
I know, and she's so excited. That's what got me all excited and wanted to know more about it because I can see that we publish books, and I can see that, this mechanism of pulling a card or getting you from square one, would really help. wow, love them. Elsie wrote, wow, love the moon card.
Yeah. So one of the other things too is like, so Kelly uses her card decks in a different way. Kelly likes to send these as gifts. And I believe she sent one to somebody, and then that's how she got on their podcast. I don't think she did it to get on the podcast, but that's what happened from her gift.
It's a thank you gift.
And then there's some people like this woman has a whole bunch of products, and she's going to have like a subscription product box, right? And then there's people like, well, the one that I don't have to show you, she ordered 100 decks right off the bat, and she's going to stores to wholesale them. So some people are doing that. Yeah, I mean, it's this girl here. She was doing a pop-up shop at holiday time, and one woman, she ordered 50, and one woman bought all 50 for gifting other people. That's so great. You know, it depends on what you want to do. Like there's so many different, and that's the other thing too that I encourage in the course is kind of know what you want to do with them. Because if you're going to wholesale, you need to print them in a different way because you have to get the cost. If you're not wholesaling, then, you know, you don't have to worry about that. So you need to know building cards is like building a house. Like, so say you go to the architect and you say, okay, after you go to the architect, you don't go to the furniture store to buy your couch because you don't really know where the plug's going to be, where the window's going to be, you know, which wall the TV is going to be on. It's the same thing. You need to know all the things. How are you going to package it? Like Kelly wanted a tin box. So tins only come in certain sizes. And so we needed to get the box first before we could decide what size the cards would be. If you don't care about that, then, you know, and you're going to use a bag. Bags come in more sizes. So you need to know there's lots of moving pieces when you create a product, as you know, because you do products.
Right. The thing that I really like about it is the color, because if you do book publishing, like right now we're publishing 2 books, it's prohibitive to have color in the interior of the book. You get color on the outside, but I mean, there's something about the vibrancy of the color and the kind of better paper, you know. I don't know.
I mean, they're fun. Yeah, they're fun, and you know, they do make a difference to people. One of the things that I remember most about when at one point I had a boyfriend that was, I guess he had intended to break up with me, but didn't tell me that yet, and he gave me a deck of Michael the Archangel cards, and then when he broke up with me, I had these cards, and they like saved. They felt at the time, this was way before they felt at the time that they kind of saved me, because I would be okay. I'd feel better when I pulled the card and I had that message from message, and I felt better. And so, you know, you don't know how one little thing impacts people. Like they hear one thing and like, oh my God, it was life changing, you know? So if you like, one of her cards is I am enough, it says. Just simply I am enough. And then it has something on the back. But just when you read that, you're already like, oh yeah.
Well, Marissa Peer, who's one of the most famous hypnotherapists in the world, she said that's the biggest trauma for all humans, is that none of us think that we're enough. And that's
a worthiness issue.
Right. So Rosie, tell us a little bit more about the course, because I know that you can help people create their own, and I'm sure it would be a blessing to work with you on that. But you also have this online course that you do some hand holding, and I'm going to put up a link real quick here. Could you tell them a little bit more about the course here?
So my course takes you from the brainstorming the idea all the way through everything you need to know, from packaging to printing to crafting your content, to leveraging the different ways to leverage it, to different printers, and to having it in your hand. So it's the whole encompassing thing. So that's a 6-module video course. and there's a whole how-to section. So I made sure to show you how to make them on in a free program, in some kind of free program. So these guys, both of these guys, made their cards on the free version of Canva.
Okay. Okay.
And the cards that I'm not going to show you, and my cards, I make on Pages. I made these on Pages.
Oh.
And the other student made them on Pages as well. So I teach you both those ways so that you don't have to be paying for, Adobe Creative Suite, and you don't have to have all that knowledge and skill.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I have other students that have, I'm just going to call my web person, my graphic artist, and have them do it. So there's those people, and that's fine. So the whole gamut, so wherever you are and whichever way you want to do it, that's available to you. And so in that, so that's all video. And then there's 2 live components when you buy the course, which is 1 live Q&A. In a group, everyone shows up, which is so amazing because, everybody's question is everybody's question.
Right.
And it helps everybody. And then I have open Zoom hours. So I open my Zoom room for like 5 hours, and people could pop in and out and ask whatever, get whatever they need for that day or whatever. And then a live Facebook group.
So how long does it take to do it? If they start, I mean, do most people race through it? Like some courses, I take the whole thing in one day.
Yeah. So this girl did that. She said, I just sat there and devoured the whole course. And she had a deadline of, she wanted to be in this pop-up shop. So she needed to have them. So she literally was about a month it took her.
Wow.
And then I have other people took like 2 months. She took like 3 months, but that's not what, I can't judge by how much time you put in. Like if you really put the time in, you could, it depends on how fast you work, but again, it's like you said,
I just wondered, for the people that think it's a cool idea, but they're a little intimidated, I was, because I do things really fast. I've been doing this all this time. So
right.
I'm not using me as an example. I'm using my authors or people who have a creative, they want to make a difference and they want to touch a lot of people.
Right.
And they want, they need products. They need either digital products and physical products.
Right. Right.
In order to get on stage, on podcasts, on everything. And so that's why I was asking,
so from the time you start to the time you get it from the printer, you could go as fast as a month, or so if you just said, okay, that's all I'm going to do, I'm going to get it all. Yeah, you could. So there's that. So that's the course.
That's
so
cool.
Again, and there's the Facebook group. So in the Facebook group, I have something I call Feedback Friday, where I say, that's where I encourage you, go in there and say, do I like, set up a little poll. Do I like this better? Do I like that better? So people do that. What do you think of this title? Do you like that title? And I'll always respond too, because I can't help myself. So, and then I put up useful information, and people come up with, questions in there that are definitely helpful to everybody. And you can see what other people are doing, and it's a nice supportive kind of environment. So all of that is the course. And so that is $297 for the course. I don't shut it. Meaning that I'm not like saying, okay, you're done. So
over and over again.
All right. I have a stand. So Kelly always likes us to take a stand for our business or in life, right? Our stand. And my stand is that no one's getting out of my course without a card deck. Because it helps me too. It helps everyone, right? I want you to have your product. I don't want you to buy my course and not have your card deck. I want you to have the card deck so I can brag about you.
Right.
So that's that. And then I recently added on an upsell, which I will say she took advantage of. Not everybody does. She didn't. So you can get the cards done without it, but she said she highly recommended it because I don't know, it depends on the kind of person, but the upgrade to the course is a concierge onboarding session. So we really just vet out and get really, really clear and build that foundation for what your card deck is going to be about. And
Uh-huh.
from that building, you kind of see where other products could fit in. So it's a really awesome experience. So
Wow.
there's that. And then so that session, and then the session is pre-printing peace of mind session, so that I look at your cards together with you before you send them off to the printer. So I can spot, we can't always spot our own things.
Right,
I can
right.
spot things that I know might not look well after it prints, because I know now what prints well, what needs to be, with this kind of border doesn't really work, or that works, or so I can spot that and save you time and money. So you actually save time and money. So that upgrade, because of you, we're also offering, because of this little interview, I'm offering $200 off of that. So it takes that price from $497 to $297.
Wonderful. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. Well, I do have the URL on the video, so I will put it in the comments as soon as we're done. But if you can see that, it's rosiebattista.com/cardsrock, and it's a perfect name for it.
It was perfect.
Well, I think this is an easy way for people to get a physical product. I really do. And I think there's so many of the people I work with that really they have a wonderful aspect of life that they want to share. I mean, either it's been their hero's journey and they want to share so you don't have to go through the pain, but whatever it is. And I mean, that sticker I put up that Kelly sent me is, what are you creating for others to be grateful for? That's really, I think, a big part of it here, right?
Yeah,
And
I mean,
so,
I love that. It's great.
and so the cards would be a really inexpensive way to get started versus a book. I mean, and people treat books like it's a PhD. They treat it as though, oh, it's got to take forever, and it's so hard, and then they
Right.
go through birthing pains about it, and I
Right.
tell you, I could
Well,
do.
there's a lot more vulnerability to it too, because you're putting so much info
Right,
about yourself in there, right?
right.
And
It,
this, I say with these, it's like golden nugget, golden jewels, like just you're sharing your golden little jewels. So it's a sweet thing, And I also encourage, and especially when I'm working one-on-one with people, I work really really deep in, like, how are you going to use these cards? So I like people to have multiple ways to use them, meaning that how the card is actually laid out, different ways they can play with the deck, different kind of things how they can engage with people, if they're have an audience they're engaging with, or if they're just doing one-on-one client stuff, or if they're doing a video, So I like to have a lot of different ways that you can do that with your deck. So it's not just like, oh, here I have a deck. Like, there's a lot to this product.
Right, right. Well, and if anyone's a coach, that it's a huge benefit to have something like this deck as reminders, and as a brand. I mean, what Kelly's doing as a brand, or what that one that you did, that's the
my naked cards, my self-love cards. Yes, to matches my brand, my book. It's a really very pretty set. Yeah.
Right,
so,
right. And you don't have to be Hay House to have a whole bunch of cool cards, and each one of them has a different personality to it.
Right. Absolutely. And that's the fun of it. They're loads of fun. They're so much fun.
That's so cool. And so there's 50 usually in a deck. Like, this says it's 64. I thought the ones I did before online were like 44, and they were like they were like playing card size.
Yeah. So everybody, so I'll show you two.
Oh, okay.
So this one, I think she's only got like 30, and then she's got close, I think 50 or 52.
Oh, okay.
So people, I recommend not going more than 52, really.
Okay.
But that's not to say that you can't, because there's certain tins, like a tin like this will hold like 78 cards.
Oh, wow.
So, but a box like this, where this is what mine look like in the box,
Uh-huh.
a box like this will only hold like 52. I had originally had 56 in here, and then the box started to rip because I was jamming it in. So
Oh,
these
oh.
are little things that I know that after making mistakes that I share with you, that
Yeah. Yeah.
right, I share on my
And
mistake,
do
make
you
them.
reorder, so it's not print on demand, so you reorder, 100 at a time or 50 at
No,
a time?
there's all different. You can do that, or you can do print on demand.
Oh, you
So
can? Like will they fulfill too? They'll
yep,
ship? Wow,
yep, yep.
that's awesome.
It's fabulousness. Fabulous. Yeah. I have this will be a whole other hour because one of my favorite modules on the packaging and enhancing, because I believe in enhancing your deck. And one of the students in my course right now is doing like a fabulous job. Everyone will have to come back and check that out. Because it's, this is the other thing. Here's the thing too. If they buy using, I'll throw this in as a bonus because it's so fun. I do an interview process. So if you take the upgrade, I do an interview with you. I take photos of your cards, and then you have rights to the photo to use the photos for your social media. And I do a whole blog post on you. I put it on YouTube. I have an Instagram that's just my, all the cards. So I promote you all over, and I do an interview with you about your cards, about your experience creating them, and what you're going to do with them. So that's also included in the upgrade. So it's a really super.
So you help launch it. You're helping launch it. That's fantastic.
Yes. So you can see. So what I was going to say is, if you go to rosiebattista.com in my blogs, you'll see card deck success stories, creator success stories, and you'll see some of those interviews, and you'll see some of the other decks and stuff like that.
I think that Facebook group would be fun just to hang out in anyway, to see all creativity and see how everybody plays together, because it's the time now that people are starting to really co-create and figure out. I'm part of a group, Elsie's part of it too. It's called the Co-Creators Convergence, and we meet once a year in Sunrise Ranch. And we could easily make a card deck. Oh my gosh. There's so many creative people. So that I'm like thinking of all the different cool ways. It's like, okay, well, somebody that wrote a book, they need that. And
right. Yeah. I mean, it's just think of it's like the easiest way to get your message into your client's hand, literally into their hand. Right. So,
and there's something about it that has a different feel than a mug or a hat. I mean, when people would buy all the stuff that's their brand, pens, all of that stuff, but this is really unique, and someone would really keep it versus a mug,
Right.
It's really cool.
It's true.
Thank you so much, Rosie. So I'm going to put this up. Yeah, I want to do it.
Yes.
Of course. And we haven't got a lot of questions. I wish there were more questions, but Elsie has said exciting dialogue. Thank you both. So
Elsie.
Yeah, thanks, Elsie, and thanks, Kelly, for being here, and thanks, Diane. And I did tag a bunch of people, but it must be a busy day today. I don't know. But we'll be sharing this around, and I'm sure many more people will see it. And but Rosie, thank you for this. This is genius. It's really
thank you, Kathy.
Yeah, thank you. And it's not scary. She'll hold your hand.
Oh yeah, I want you to get out of there with the card deck. Believe me.
Well, the thing is you have to understand how creative Rosie is. I mean, she was in the clothing industry in New York, in fashion in New York. She's highly talented. So you're getting somebody to guide you. This isn't just a graphic artist or someone who you just might like their taste. This is someone who has an incredible talent and a lot of experience that can guide you to make the best choices. Because of course it's colors and images and everything.
Right.
You're going to mother them a little bit and
Right.
guide them to make
Right.
make it perfect. So thank you so
Yeah.
much,
Thank
Rosie.
you. Thank
No
you for that.
doubt. I look
Thanks.
forward to playing. This will be great.
Cool. All
Great.
right.
Well, thank
Thanks.
you, Rosie. Have a great day. Thank
Okay,
you.
bye.
Uh-huh. Bye-bye.